this is probably live.
Is it live?
Is there anyone on it?
It's red.
What's red?
Shall we begin?
The button is red. No, the live stream hasn't started yet. You have to click it when it's red.
No.
It was green.
It says live on it.
It's live.
Oh my, this is real. Okay, hi. No one's here yet, but I guess we'll start. Should we just wait until people are here? Or people are just gonna look at
We can wait like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Just wait.
one more.
Nobody
It's
shows
just
up.
me.
Oh.
I'm currently the only person watching. Two are watching.
True or false?
Is it Darwin?
Stars on like 12 months.
Darwish County and Gmail. Darwish County +1.
Okay.
Two.
Oh.
Okay, they were doing that.
Really excited. All right, I guess
Mhm.
we should. Three people.
We do, but I believe the 3 are
Oh, they're both.
Yeah, we'll start in like 3 minutes. We're just hanging out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just hanging
Talk about
out.
that quesadilla on the.
It's not a quesadilla. It's a crate.
Quip got acquired, 750 mil by Salesforce.
What's Quip?
Pretty cool. Quip is like Google Docs, but better and on mobile.
Why would you want Google Docs on mobile?
I
Why would
don't
you
know.
ever want to
Google
take
Docs has a
text?
mobile
Yeah,
editor, but
yeah.
it's really annoying.
Yeah, Quip is really good on mobile.
Why would you want to
That's
have
what
text?
Salesforce. Every Salesforce. You can do it.
And they're not as like consumer facing.
Well, Quip's enterprise.
I guess yeah, you can do.
Yeah, Quip's
Business.
customers are enterprise.
Cool. Let us graduate again. You want to remind everyone of comments real quick?
All right, so for everyone watching, we are going to start the webinar. We have a set of questions that we're going to go through first, but if you have any at all, feel free to post in the comments, and we'll be reading from that as we go. We're going to start off with some introductions, just name, school, why you joined Horizons aside from just wanting to learn how to code, and then we'll just roll right into a little bit of Q&A. So, David, you want to start out?
Hi everyone, I'm David. I study physics and computer engineering at Columbia University. I joined Horizons because I wanted to learn how to code in software in the most useful way instead of theoretical stuff from school. Also, I heard that it's gonna have an amazing student body, and it's sure to deliver. That's why I'm here.
Hi, I'm Sari. I am a recent graduate of Wellesley College. I studied bio and psych. And why did I join Horizons? Yeah, I just wanted to learn how to code. Yeah,
So besides that.
I wanted
Applications of
to.
coding, anything.
We are very.
Yeah.
We can just want to learn how to code. That's
Yeah,
fine.
awesome.
Hey guys, I'm Caitlin. I'm from U Penn. I'm a junior studying computer science and cognitive science. I joined Horizons because, like David, I really wanted to learn how to code in a very practical way, to actually make things that other people can use. And the computer science you learn in school is very theoretical. So yeah.
Hey, I'm Jack. I'm a rising senior at Babson studying entrepreneurship. I specifically decided just wanting to code, saw all the APIs coming out and some very powerful kind of tools and things. And so I knew that by doing this, by learning kind of the basics of coding, I would be able to use some of the APIs related to some very advanced things, and thought that was really cool.
Hello. My name is Abi. I'm the guy who's been texting and emailing and calling most, if not all of you guys. I'm actually one of the founders, so I'm not in school. And why did I join Horizons? Well, I kind of helped start it. That's why. I'm here to answer any kind of logistical questions you guys have, and to make sure everyone's kind of staying on track here.
Okay, my name is Will. I am a sophomore at Penn studying business and philosophy. And the reason I joined Horizons was I wanted to learn how to build things, and I felt like doing it early was a good start, and I knew I was going to regret it if I didn't come.
Right. And I'm Cole. I'm a senior at Middlebury College. I joined Horizons because I wanted to catch up on the last year and a half that I didn't take CS classes, and this seemed like a nice way to crunch 3 or 4 semesters into one short period of time and get a whole lot of experience on building. All right, so I guess since we got out of the way why we joined it, we could start off with the preparation. That seems to be a big question that a lot of people ask. How much do you need to prepare to be a part of Horizons and join it without feeling that you're completely helpless? So does anyone feel that? How much prep work do you need to do? How much coding experience do you need before getting into Horizons to actually make the most of it?
Do the prep work. Yeah, so there's lots of people that come from different backgrounds. For example, Caitlin here, she's a CS major, right? CS major. I'm a bio major. I had very minimal CS background. But if you do the prep work and you feel comfortable with JavaScript before coming in, that should be sufficient. I don't know, what do you guys think?
Yeah, the prep work based on the thing, and it's probably going to take you like 30 to 40 hours. If you have CS before this, it's probably not going to take you more than like 5. But if you don't,
Damn.
what? It didn't take enough. Okay. But if you do it, like, that's just because the kids who have CS before this have already put those hours in, like, over the course of the school year, basically. So it could definitely take you 40 hours, but it could also take you, like, not that long.
And even though those skills may seem hard while you're doing it, and you may kind of struggle through it, once you get into the class and it's a week or 2 in, it becomes second nature, and you learn how to kind of at almost an equal level of people that might be had gone through the prep work very easily.
Yeah, so how about you guys walk us through what kind of the first weeks look like? Because you've done this prep work and then you're in this new environment. How do the Horizon staff and the TAs navigate the varying levels of skills and the different learning styles of people?
I would say the only week that kids who have CS background are going to have an advantage of, like traditional CS background, is going to be the first week. Because that's the week that you're doing things with algorithms and just kind of like the more things that you would get in a traditional CS class. But after that, you're going into things like CSS, you're going into things like HTML, where kids who do not have experience specifically with these languages are going to be on the same footing as you. So I think it evens out a lot. Like it evens out tremendously once the second week hits, and 1 week is all people are going to have an advantage of over you.
Yeah, and the TAs are awesome. They stay like from the morning up until sometimes like 2, 3 in the morning with you to answer any question that you have. So you get all the support that you really need if you're scared about that gap.
And there are bonus activities for each day. So if you're able to kind of finish them quickly, there's always challenge and there's always kind of ways to challenge yourself.
Yeah. Nothing ever really runs out, and if you find out that like there's no more material, they'll probably like Moose or one of the other head instructors, like they'll probably throw something in to like keep you occupied for a few hours. So it never really stops.
I think I only asked for bonus question. I only asked this like in the first week, and then we never had to ask this question afterwards.
Yeah. No, I think we asked for a bonus question like the first week, and then they gave us like a poker simulation thing, and then we were here for like 3 in the morning. Yeah, that was fun.
So kind of playing off that, how often do you end up staying until the early dawn?
To whatever you want. I mean, like it changes week to week when it's hard. So first week, I was kind of like I had to stay here because I had to finish the stuff because I didn't get enough. Like my background is business and philosophy. I had to really learn how to think algorithmically and like in this way. Second week, third week is actually a good example because I chose to stay here because I just thought like week 3, everything kind of comes together, like back end, front end, like the coding aspect of it all fits together. You start to understand web apps. So I was here because I wanted to be here and just like really learning it. But go home when you're done. That's kind of like the prereq. Once you're done, then you can leave.
And so kind of playing off of that, how does that very loose academic environment change the kind of the feel of Horizons from a normal school setting? Is there a difference in motivation or a difference in perspective of the kids who are in this program versus students in a typical CS class?
I mean, you have a lot, I would say you have a lot more motivation. You have a lot because you have so much direct support. So like when you're in school, when you're in a CS class, if you want to go to office hours, you have to wait for TA office hours, say from like 6 to midnight. You have to wait for that, you have to go, you have to wait 3 hours to see a TA. This is so much more immediate. You put yourself in the help queue and you have help. So you end up getting through a lot more, you end up having a lot more motivation because everyone around you just genuinely wants to be here and wants to figure out the problem. Like David, like if we asked for, we were like partners once and like we asked for like an extra problem, he was like, oh no, now I have to stay here till 1 because he genuinely could not go home until he finished it. And that was like an internal motivation thing. That's not like I'll be standing over him being like, yeah, you gotta finish this. You know? So like they're never gonna do that. They're never gonna stand over you and say that. But like everyone here internally is so motivated and that's the kind of person that you have to be.
Yeah, also the projects are just fun. Like Moose, Lane, like all the instructors, the TAs, they know, like they've learned to code. They know there's a difference between like Code Academy and online, and there's a difference between problem sets versus like fun projects. And the thing you get here is like experts saying like what is the best way to learn, and they basically said like building fun things. So they give us like I think double message was really fun. They like 1 week they just told us to like break all these applications, and we were just fooling around for a whole day, and we learned a whole lot just like breaking things. That was security. We don't actually
Immediately crashing each other's browsers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on that, how do we go through and say what the most fun project or thing that you built was during your time at Horizons so far?
that instructor's designed, or that we're working on for projects?
That you're working on for projects, the most fun little thing that you built, just the most fun part of Horizons thus far in the cycle.
Yeah, I think most fun was definitely like the independent projects we're working on. Because we have ownership over them. I think the ones that the instructors design, double message is awesome. It's a way to send texts and emails all through a web app. So everything goes right from your web app, kind of like iMessage, but with emails and all of it in one app.
In projects, we made a clone of Amazon. It's kind of cool. It had a lot of moving parts to it. And then in the project, working on kind of a e-commerce thing that involves a lot of moving pieces. So it's fun to kind of really apply those skills and relate them.
In projects, we cloned that Yo app, that really dumb app that got like 1.5 million in funding.
Super easy.
We did that in like 2 hours. So that was pretty cool. And then the hackathon was like by far the best thing. We did like a 24-hour hackathon and it was awesome because it was kind of this moment where you were like, wow, I can actually build something that I thought of. And it's like the first time that you've done that kind of, and that's the reason everybody really joined this program. It's really cool.
Yeah, for the projects, I really enjoyed Double Message, as Will said. It was a lot of motivation because when people started getting it done, they were sending their friends messages, like anonymous emails and anonymous messages, and I was like, I need to get there right now. So yeah, that was really, really fun. The outcome of that was really, really great. Yeah, I really also enjoyed the hackathon. That was super fun, just being able to be around people who were staying up. And we had like a very short amount of time, got to demo after. That was really awesome.
Yeah, I think for me it's also the hackathon. We did space related stuff. I'm really interested in space, and we got together to design. Like it's not really like about space, but we used D3 to visualize sentiment analysis from Matsun. So we got to play around with a lot of APIs, and also one of the other app that I really like is Ice Momentum. We cloned the Momentum app. It's the first time my CSS worked. Like I struggled for a week, and none of my CSS worked until that. I got to make my own Momentum app.
You love CSS.
I know.
All right, we got our first prospective student question from Alexander Prady. So when you get stuck in a problem or part of a program or anything, what methods are encouraged to find the solution, and what are examples of problems you've had?
So many problems.
I think at the beginning you like tend to be like Ethan, like the TA, you just kind of like really depend on the TAs a lot, and then like as it goes on, like they get generally more busy and more busy, so you kind of have to figure it out on your own, which is like great because you need to be doing that. So like Googling, you gotta become like an aggressive Googler, basically.
Knowing how to navigate Stack Exchange and Stack Overflow are absolutely key, and that's really only learned with learning how to ask the right question, learning how to parse through your error statements, and knowing when to console log.
You get really good at reading errors.
Yeah, you also get really good at reading documentation, which was really hard for me at first. Yeah, you get
You're
better
better.
at
Yeah.
reading documentation.
I think you get like a good like year's worth of or a few years worth of errors just like in a few months period, and that's just invaluable. Like you're in an environment where you get so many of those mistakes in such a concentrated period of time, like you just have to learn. Just by showing up, you learn.
All right. Just to say hello to any people who just came on. This is the Horizons webinar for any students that have been accepted and are looking at this program. If you have any questions, feel free to post in the comments below, and we'll get to them as soon as we can. We have a whole bunch of others that we're going through, but we're just gonna keep on trucking and see if you guys have any extra things that we should talk about. But next, I think we can start saying, so on the basis of this being, like, you get years worth of error messages and experience, you learn a lot of how to build a huge variety of things in a short amount of time. How do you think this compares to the typical academic load of a similar, the similar academic load in a CS program at a university?
Just like in my experience, they're not similar at all. Like the first week of Horizons is the only thing that I thought my SIS background had anything to do with. Everything after that, I mean, it's so much more practical. Computer science in school is all about like the theory behind it. Like how do I model this in a computer? And like it's so far from what an actual computer does nowadays. Like even if you're doing computer architecture, like things like that, the things you start off learning are so far from what an actual computer does when it processes instructions. And this is like really, really like how do I get that app up and running and usable like right now? That's what you're learning here. So they're related in that like it's kind of a similar way of thinking, but they're tools that we use and the process that we go through. This is like invaluable for knowing how to make actual things.
Yeah, it's less theoretical and more practical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess the theory part sometimes comes into like play when you actually build a giant app that requires structure. But more time, I think you need to spend time to get this done. Like in school, when you have a homework, when you work on it, you probably don't you are not allowed to plagiarize. You probably won't have much like TA attention. So you have to figure things out like by yourself for a long time, which is a good skill, but you don't get things done as fast as you have a TA. You can just yell at Ethan, tell me this, and then you get things done. You move on, learn the next thing. So yeah, you have a better, faster pace here.
How does collaboration play into the learning environment here?
Collaboration is like huge here. So in traditional CS environments, like collaboration is almost never encouraged. At least at Penn, it's very highly just that's plagiarism if you're like collaborating on a project. But you're you are put into pairs from day one, at least for our program, and you're kind of it's always easier to code with a partner because just like even if you just have like a thought like, oh, should I do it this way? Should I do it that way? You have somebody to confirm that with, even if it's not a TA. And that's like really invaluable for your process of like going through it. So collaboration is a huge part of it here, and it really helps with motivation and also helps you just move faster.
Just working on teams though, like in project environments is like something you're not gonna, I don't think you get it as much in like computer science classes, right? Working in teams.
Certain schools, they do put you in teams.
Certain schools,
for bigger projects, but mostly it's
Or also if it's like a 190 class here, like something like that.
yeah, those are more practical though. Like 190 classes are meant to be like very practical,
Yeah.
but that's only at Penn, I think. I think the important part is though, like the context of where we're building these things. So we're building like user-facing products. Like there are going to be people on the other side of this. not just like you're using this to model some kind of simulation or whatever. And because of that, working in teams, you're mostly describing like how people are going to be using it. And when you have to make those decisions with other people, it's like really valuable because these are going to be the things you're going to be making for like hopefully a really long time. I think if you want an illustration of this, someone told me like when you go to the settings of like any app, like all those settings like switching like should it be this color or this color are like disagreements that there were in like a team. So like and when you start thinking about it, that is like you have so many discussions about how people should experience these things that you're building that you're just not going to get in school and you're not going to get in this like immersive learning. So.
All right. I think now we should probably not really shifting, but just moving to in a little bit of an oblique angle towards why Horizons this summer in particular, because we already know why we chose Horizons, which was to learn to code, but how is the decision to learn this particular summer, take this summer, it could be a parallel for this semester, but why did you choose to do this program this summer? Why was this an option on your plate?
I think I was really excited about Horizons because I joined tech like a little bit late. I didn't start SIS until spring of my freshman year. So I always felt like a little bit behind. I'm like one class behind everybody else. So I thought it would be like a great way to like get ahead. And I'm going into my junior year, which at Penn is like a huge deal for like getting jobs. So I think this summer was like the perfect summer for me to build my portfolio and then go right into OCR on campus recruiting with all of these like tools in my tool belt.
For me, Babson doesn't have computer science. I could have taken it at other schools, but because of that, I guess for my first 3 years of undergrad, I didn't have like that great of an opportunity to be exposed to it. But I knew that I was interested in it. For example, last summer, I was working with a friend, and we had a plan of a startup, and he has a technical background, but since I didn't, kind of time commitment in building it, and it actually come to life, like kind of, we ended up switching pretty quickly because we realized with only, to build a software thing with only one technical person, that leaves the other person not doing much. So I really felt like I should learn it. And then once I saw the opportunity, that's when I kind of jumped on it for this summer.
Yeah, I chose this summer because it was my last summer since I just recently graduated. Yeah, simple, very simple.
I choose this program because I was making a decision whether what I would want to do after my graduation. Should I have 1 year, I'm a rising senior, so I will graduate next year. I was just debating whether I should continue studying, get a master or PhD in computer science, or should I work in the industry? And then I realized, as a computer science, computer engineering major for like 3 years, I haven't really learned the skills to actually make any ideas becomes like a real product. And if I dive into academia, I still want that skill in my skill set. If I want to work in any company, I need that skills as well. So that makes me a perfect choice.
As soon as Audrey called me on the phone, and like I had an internship in Los Angeles doing wealth management at a bank, and as soon as he called me, I didn't even think about it. I just said yes, and I was like, and I forgot to tell the people I was working for like a good like week and a half. And, like if I was there, I'd be like in like a shirt and but now I'm not even wearing shoes. Like I got like it's just amazing how this opportunity came so early, and like the fact that I have 3 years left. If you're a freshman or sophomore, like definitely do this. Definitely get these skills early, and then just build stuff for like the rest of the time you're in college.
Yeah, I just want to say that it's never a bad time to be here. Yeah, it's never a bad time. Whether it's like right after your first year or you just recently graduated, never a bad time.
So David and Will touched on this, but I'm wondering what everyone else thinks. How does CS play a role in your long-term goals? So kind of not only why Horizons, but why computer science? Why is this a part of your future?
So I kind of fell into computer science a little bit. I came into college as a creative writing major. And then I took a CS class in the cognitive science track, and I just really loved it. So I think I'm still trying to figure that one out. But it just looking at my future, seeing going into just like a job doing anything else or going into CS. Going into CS just feels like it's like I'm like playing every day. Like I'm just doing whatever I want. Like it just like it's amazing. It kind of opens up so many doors for your future, and you never really feel like you're working. Like if we're here till 3 a.m, I never realize it. The day goes by so fast here. And last year I had two traditional internships, and the day went by so slowly. And I was only there from 9 to 5. So like it's just a difference in like the opportunities that are available to you. That's why I love CS.
All right. I guess for me,
Keep going, please.
Go ahead. I guess for me, like computer science comes from like sort of insecurity. Like everything we're building, we're going to build, we're going to like live it. It's going to be built in computer, like some sort of software or like integration of hardware. And without knowing this knowledge, it makes me very insecure. Also, so that's why I wanted to really learn computer science and computer engineering, like from bottom to top. And this part is like crucial part of the crucial pieces of my puzzle.
So me personally, I'm studying business, focused on entrepreneurship, and kind of plan to still follow that career path. But I found it very important to add CS and kind of do this program because just looking at the landscape of business, we're seeing tech be a great opportunity as a business or to use in business. So, Uber disrupting the taxi industry, or you can go almost through every industry and see how tech is either currently disrupting it or can. And just in terms of how that can help to run an effective business, to use it to look at the data, manage effectively, etc. It applies a lot to business and kind of especially innovating businesses and entrepreneurship, startup, kind of that related thing. So
If you're thinking about that too, like just on that note, it's not just business, it's like industry agnostic. So if you want to be like, if you don't want to be a software engineer, just think about how you can take software to your industry and touch millions, and possibly billions more lives than you would have been able to without it. Like we're living in an age where like people are going to get the internet like very soon who don't have it. And with software, like whether you want to be a lawyer, think about like using an algorithm to discover, like go through cases much faster than you would, or you think you want to be a doctor and save lives. Think about how many like lives you can touch with something like IBM Watson and using that technology. Like you can touch so many more lives with software. And maybe you can think of it as a means to an end, but just like bringing it to different industries is probably the best thing you can do right now.
Yeah, to piggyback off of what Will was saying, I think like to teach yourself computer science is to give yourself the freedom to do whatever you want with it. I was pre-med before for like 3.5 years of my undergraduate career, so big chunk of that was pre-med. And I'm still interested in health sciences, and so yeah, CS is very applicable whether you want to go into business or stay in health fields. Yeah, gives you the flexibility to do what you want to do.
So, yeah, there's no real feed into this one. What are some of your favorite projects that you've worked on in this second half, or just speak to what projects you've been working on in the second half of the course that are actually projects?
Just go around.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Popcorn round robin, whatever.
Slack thing?
Me and Will I was working with Will for a week, and he's continuing the project. But we're doing a Slack bot. Slack is like a messaging app, and the bot manages your Google Drive and your Google Calendar. So it's essentially where you could be like, hey, Q, the app is named Q. You'd be like, hey, Q, can you get me the file that I was working on last week? And it'll parse that using a natural language parser. And it'll understand what you're saying. It'll actually give you back the file. And you can also use it to like create calendar events. You can use it to create folders, to create files, just so that you never have to leave Slack, and you can be more productive as a team.
It's cool because it uses machine learning. So like you mess it up once, and then you can just retrain the thing, and then it'll understand it the next time. So and Caitlin and I both don't know anything about statistics or machine learning, and we just kind of but the thing is, like, you can use APIs to do that now. That's the really cool part. Like I think we're gonna have like people using it. Like the founders were really cool about like showing it to their friends, and they were interested. And you guys are actually gonna like maintain the project after we leave, which is
which is really cool.
Yeah. So like another thing to mention is that like a lot of the things that we're talking about like probably would have scared me a lot if I was listening to this webinar as like a first semester student. And it sounds all very technical and unachievable, things like that to some, I guess. But none of us knew any of this before we came here. Like nothing. So like if you're hearing him say like Wit.ai and natural language parsing and you're like, oh my god, I can't do that, you can.
You can. It's literally just like a line of code, but you have to have the foundation, and then it's easier. And then without it, it's like formally.
Yeah. So like all of this is attainable, and it's all very cool.
Other questions? Yeah.
So I worked, one of the other members of Horizons is from the Netherlands, and he came in with a startup idea and then to learn the skills to actually build it. So his startup that I helped him build is to match home care professionals with those who need care, such as elderly, in the Netherlands. And so we set up a whole system, a lot of flows, the database kind of, it tested a lot of the skills, and then it's cool to see a finished project. After just 2 weeks, we built a lot of the main functionality, and that is actually going to be used in production. Of course, it's going to be tweaked, but that's kind of him and another partner are kind of pursuing that as a business. So it was fun to build something that's being used. And now I just started a project today that's kind of like a Teespring marketplace where designers can go in and upload designs for a wide variety of products and then sell those products. And so it uses a lot of kind of APIs and cool things, but has the potential to be a real business depending on kind of see how
That's
far it gets.
awesome.
But yeah.
You understand that?
I
I would have jumped on that. So,
All right, Matt.
Right now, I'm currently working on a project for a startup. Essentially, we are getting all this data, user data from different APIs, and we're filtering it so that people can take that data and use it for further marketing.
I'm working on a client project as well. We're building a giant, currently it's just front-end app that basically pumps you through a series of questions for an insurance company. So you have like, the next question depends on the previous question, so we have to design this logic from like scratch. So we have to come up with some like a new model to do that. And for the past 2 weeks, we've been like testing, debugging, but now we have this logic working, and now we're dealing with more specific type of questions. So I think this project for me is like really get to know how to do like front end, like from the beginning and to like everything on the page. And it's a single page app, so it's like very, very, very beautiful.
I've been working on an app called Clinky, which is Clinky is designed to give you a preview of nightlife venues before you go there based on crowdsourced data from the app. So it allows venue owners to post events, it allows users to post feedback on how crowded a club is, what the in-talks level is, how long the wait is, the age demographic, the gender ratio, and this data is all parsed by our database and then is visible to all of the users. So if you know that you want to go to this one particular bar and you check it out before you go and realize that, oh, it's got an hour-long wait time and there's almost no one there and it's really quiet, you feel like having more of a party, you can check out a whole bunch of other places and see what they're like at this point. So that's Clinky. Clinky is currently in development. It is clinking away though.
That's great ever.
And kind of just overall with these projects, there's kind of two main categories. There's contract work, so different kind of client work. So you have real experience in terms of like what a freelance programmer would see, and working with people to kind of give them the results they want. Or if you have your own idea and are looking to build a startup, you can pursue that path as well and have kind of the support of the TAs in that as well.
All right, so that's kind of projects. That's the second half of the course. The first half of the course deals a lot with learning JavaScript, CSS, HTML, learning how to build simple web pages, dealing with what databases are and how they work, how to model things, logic and routing, data management, all of that. But I guess another good thing that we could touch on is another question that we got, which is kind of related to something we talked about earlier, was what's the benefit of doing something like Horizons over a free online course or just learning this on your own? Is there special information that they have? Is there some magic juju that they give us that makes us code better? Why choose Horizons over just doing something like, Code Academy and then a whole bunch of challenge projects on your own?
Classic answer is that the environment is much different. So I've gone through like a lot of online courses I haven't gone through them because online learning is like very poor. I think in terms of one is like this feedback loop where here you're going to get the people at the top of their fields giving you constant advice, constant like criticism or like constructive criticism on your work. Whereas online, you're not going to be getting that, and if you are, it's like in the span of like 3 or 4 days, and it's not really targeted towards what you want. Like right now, working with these complex APIs, we messaged this guy Laurent on this like API help log, and he gets back to us like 3 days later with this recorded, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's great.
Yeah. The fact is like it's not a bash on like people behind the computer like trying to help people learn. It's a bash on like the like screen between you and learning is too much of a barrier. You have to be in this immersive environment where you can talk to your team members, where you can discuss like very big decisions, where you're going to get the help you need to accelerate yourself like much faster. So if you did this online, you definitely could because it's all out there. But here it's curated for you. The instructors have chosen what you need to know based on industry experience. And then I think the biggest part is like it's accelerated. Like after 6 weeks, you have the foundation to build like anything you really want to build. And I think online you're gonna have to do that over like a few years.
Yeah.
It took Ethan, one of our TAs, like he started when he was 5. Like he literally started when he was 5, and he said we learned what he learned in a year, in a week. So it's like you learn 52 times faster here. Compared to a 5-year-old.
Yeah, but
You can be the
like,
I really Ethan is just
Yeah, and Ethan's a genius. So like, a 5-year-old Ethan's probably like 18-year-old me. So it's like very different.
Yeah, I think also to add on to that, the environment here is really good for fostering like all sorts of different types of projects. So like if you have an idea suddenly, like any of the TAs, like any of the founders will just kind of support your idea and be like, this is maybe how I would do it, or like, let's think about it this way. That's not something you'd actually get from an online course.
Also, like you can start building things as soon as you want. And like you can build things with other people for a while. Like Cole and I are going to be working on an RSS reader in the fall, and Caitlin and I are going to make, can I say this on the web? Like an app for like, okay. So you can direct message us, but it's like a fun little app that I think a lot of college kids will use.
I think the short answer is that like you won't learn it on your own.
Yeah, you won't learn it on your own.
Or you will learn it very slowly, and you will have to be so motivated to learn it. Like I only know one person that I think would probably do this on her own, and she wants to learn how to code, and she still hasn't done it. And this girl knows 9 languages just because she felt like it. So it's just like you won't do it, and here you will. So
it'll be fun.
I also think the people that you meet here, it's a really good connection that I think will last outside of the 12 weeks that we were here.
Yeah, definitely. To add on to Sarah's, I think the community is great in terms of finding a startup founder, other people to work with, but also we have a whole speaker series. So about twice a week, we have some really great people come in, and so that's also a networking opportunity. And they've been kind of very cool people in a variety of industries, from VC to founders to kind of high roles at varying companies.
So
To add on that, I think I kind of think like online learning is not that bad. I do believe that in the future a lot of the learning is going to shift it online. So, but I think the most crucial thing here is, for me personally, is the entrepreneurial thinking. I used to think that the most important thing in the world is ideas. When you have an idea, you can change the world. But apparently, you have an idea. I have a lot of ideas, but world hasn't changed that much. You have to implement that idea. From the speaker theories, the biggest realization for me is like, realizing an idea is more like crucial. Like actually changes the world, and I think that's a lot of the stuff that happened in the past 8 weeks for me. It's like all of those realizations or inspirations from my peers, which doesn't come from online learning or any of the courses you take. So I guess that's
Also, if you have a friend like in the accepted group that you know of that's been accepted in Horizons, convince them to come, or both of you like try and convince each other. So I guess you're convinced, but like come here together because not only do you build like the projects here, but then you can go back to school with them and start building more stuff. So like one of the things I'm most excited about is just like having like a few people at Penn that know how to build things, and then they can like come over and we can just build stuff and like. And watch movies and just like so Caitlin like gets her own monitor in my room. It's gonna be fun.
So we touched on why Horizons versus online, but what about why Horizons versus internship? And how do you navigate that as someone who maybe has an internship and needs to convince their family that this is a better option?
I have friends with computer science internships right now, and they're not learning very much because they're not allowed to touch very much. And literally the motto here is you have to break it first before you understand it. That is not a possibility in an internship. So I think you learn just a tremendous amount here. You learn so much, and at an internship, you're kind of just the friends I have in internships. They're not learning as much as I think that they would like to.
It's also like, what kind of internship can you get? Like, I couldn't get any like product manager or software engineering internships because I couldn't actually do that stuff. I had to find one at like I had to network my way to like a bank or something. And it's like if you find an internship that's really great for you, then take it. But make sure you're learning. Make sure like the relationship is one where you're an intern and these are people that are going to be helping you, because that's what it's like at Horizons. It's not like you're an intern and you're supposed to be like shooting value to like the company, like no matter what. It should be like you're supposed to be learning something because you're still kind of a student. So if you can find all those things, like congrats. But if you want to do like software kind of stuff and work in tech, like
Also tech, like a lot of the value of you in the actual interview is like what you know. So it might not be as valuable, like tech just specifically, it's not as valuable to have that internship name on the resume as it is to say, look at all these skills. Like the skills line of my resume has shot up from this class. So I think that's more valuable out of your summer or out of your semester.
What are some of the things that you learned about Horizons only after joining the program?
Everything. The first year.
What's something that's unique about Horizons as a company that you think differentiates it from maybe a different type of coding bootcamp that maybe has been around for a while?
I don't know really about other coding bootcamps. I'll just say that Horizons has exceeded my expectations in every category. So
I mean, just the business model though, if you go to another boot camp, you're going to be surrounded by people that have had jobs and want to make a huge career transition, like people in their late 20s, early 30s that want to learn to code and like go from like being a nurse to being a software engineer. Here it's just like people that want to get a start in their tech career. So the business model is completely different, and the people at the helm of it, like the founders, are just like you see them every day, and you see them like a lot. And they're like right over your shoulder. But it's a lot of fun, like having them there all the time. It's super cool. You're not going to get that at like those other camps.
It's a more personable environment than like an instructor with you. It's like there's really someone who like is there, they want to help you, and like they're also kind of like they're pretty chill. So
it's a difference between like being in a lecture hall with like an old professor and then being at like a summer camp with like your camp counselors.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to say on that?
I do enjoy being summer camp
Yeah.
You're a great babysitter.
And just the environment overall being kind of that we're all college students or just graduated, and it was very high caliber, motivated students. So I don't know at the other boot camps, but I doubt that there's people there from 9 a.m. to midnight like every day, and that's all their own motivation.
Right. As Will said, the whole goal of most people here is not to go out and find like a new job. You'll find that a lot of people here start projects that they're just like genuinely interested in, and I think that's probably what would set this program apart from others.
All right, we're gonna wrap this up in about 10 minutes, but we've got time for some more questions. If any of you guys watching have questions, feel free to post on the YouTube comments section. We're checking that, and we'll get to you as soon as we can. But for now, we'll talk a little bit about pacing and whether, because I know the pace here is really fast for the first 6 weeks. And how do you feel that impacts your learning? Are you actually able to retain everything that you are doing and learning, or does it feel like some things just fly past and you're constantly in catch-up mode?
I think the fact that we have repetition so much, so like you're doing a new project in the 6 weeks, probably every 1 to 3 days you're doing a new project. So it might seem like you're going really fast, but for example, we were learning how to use a framework called Handlebars, and I think we were using it in like Trello or something at the beginning. I really didn't understand what was going on. We were like rendering and stuff. I was like, all right, sounds good. And then as we move forward, you kind of see the same concepts, right, being repeated in every single project. And since it's all building on top of another, at some point you're gonna learn it, because otherwise, like, what are you doing here? You know, you're gonna learn it at some point. So yeah, I never really felt like there was something that like I didn't get, and then we just moved on, and I just didn't get it.
There are definitely some, like in the first 6 weeks, I definitely have these moments in the morning. I look at the slides of that day. So what is this? Why do I need to learn this? Why do I have to get out of bed and to learn this? And like these seems like random. Like it's in 6 weeks, so they really pick their topics. And when I started working on the project that I've been working on right now, it's like you see those things that seem random. They came together. Like every app basically you have right out there uses some part of it, but basically most of them. So and when you build stuff, you go back to your first 6 weeks code and you pick some of the codes that, okay, I use that, I didn't understand why. Now I need to use it again. I understand this completely. Next time I don't have to copy code, I understand. So I think this pacing works pretty good.
And what do you think were the biggest obstacles to the process of going through this course thus far? At what point was it the most challenging?
Material-wise or what?
Material-wise, personally, like transitioning to here. So what was the biggest hurdle that you had to jump over?
Yeah, I feel like personally, it just kind of got harder to pay attention in class because at the very beginning, classes were a little bit shorter, a little sweeter, and then as you kind of get like deeper into the 6 weeks, they just kept getting longer and longer. But that's more of a me problem than anything else. Yeah, I still learned. I learned a lot.
I think that's like a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah,
you're
you
like,
know,
you see
yeah.
the end, and you're like,
Yeah,
okay.
you know.
But then even if like towards the end of the 6 weeks, the first 6 weeks, you like are like, all right, whatever, and it feels like a little bit slower. Once you jump into projects, it's like an immediate switch, and like you reinforce all of the things that maybe you should have spent a little bit longer on in 6 weeks. You're like immediately gonna have to do that, and you're gonna be really excited to do it. So.
By the way, for cameo time for me. For you folks who got accepted to the semester program, that's actually a month longer than these guys have in the summer. So as opposed to being 3 months, that is 4 months. So that means, double the pay. No, I'm just kidding. That means we have, an extra couple weeks for the curriculum, as well as an extra couple weeks at the end for projects, which means that a lot of these sort of, contract projects turn into, larger, almost internship-like things, and then we have a little bit more time during these first 8 weeks to actually kind of further go in depth for a lot of these concepts. So,
You guys are going to be insane. Like, Lane said the other day, he's one of the instructors, when we were having dinner with him, he he said, Will, you're gonna be like you're gonna be like the hot kid at the party. when you go back, because all the MBAs are gonna be like, can you build this thing for me? Can you build this thing for me? And you're gonna be like turning them away. And that's like 3 months. Like 4 months, you guys are gonna be like I'm scared like what you guys are gonna build because it's gonna amaze me when you have all that time.
I think another thing that a lot of the students have asked is how you guys find the contract projects. How these all come.
That's a very good question. So there's a huge need for this because if you go out and need the tech startup world, what you find is there are people who, they have large teams, they've raised a lot of money, and they have the ability to go build everything internally. But that's, maybe, 15, 20% of the world. And then there's 80% of the world where, there's a lot of MBAs who are non-technical, who have great ideas. They've been in industry for many, many years, and they want to build their product. And, the Penn folks know those MBAs all too well. And, at Babson, I'm sure there are a lot of MBAs like this as well. They have great ideas, and they just don't have the technical chops to build them. And so partly what we're trying to do with this is kind of help connect the ecosystem a little bit further and bring those projects on board. But that, those are startups. We're also talking to some larger companies. Sari's working with an ex-employee of a pretty large company, and there's a couple of folks in the class who are working on a project for Optimizely, which is a very large company. There are 400, 500 people now. So we're speaking with some larger tech firms who also have a lot of internal tooling needs. So a lot of different sources that these projects come from. The needless to say, there are copious amounts of them out there.
And how do you get people to trust a whole bunch of students who've been coding for 2 months?
We show them this webinar. No, I think listen, it's actually an easier sell than you think. I call them up and I say, hey, listen, I have extremely ambitious, talented college students. Why are they ambitious and talented? Well, rather than going to the beach, they signed up for a 10-hour-a-day coding bootcamp for 3 months during the summer. These are their kind of backgrounds, where they come from, their schools, and they want to build, and they're hungry to build. And most people are extremely open to that. So.
Cool. Well, I think that's a pretty good note to end on. We don't have any more questions from you guys, so thanks for attending, and we hope that you all choose Horizons because it's awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Yay! Oh, that's